If you're anything like me, you've probably fallen down the rabbit hole of personality tests in a great quest to find the answer to the question, who the frick am I? While these tests can bring some comfort and self-assurance, it's difficult to know what your results actually mean. And some tests are more or less accurate than others, so the results you get may not always be applicable. I'm not naming names, but why am I a wizard man, and what does that have to do with my life? Something more tangible that interests me, though, is the connection between personality traits and creativity. Creativity is sort of like this goldmine of opportunity that lets you take your experiences and turn them into art, into something meaningful that other people can appreciate. But what if creativity is something that only certain types of people can tap into? One of the most empirically tested personality tests is the Big Five, which scores you on 5 traits: extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, and openness. Researchers Costa and McRae investigated the links between these traits and creativity, and they found that agreeableness seems to be negatively correlated with creativity, conscientiousness is positively correlated with scientific creativity, but is not associated with artistic creativity. Stability is negatively correlated with creativity, meaning that, hypothetically, the more neurotic someone is, the more likely they will be creative, which is lucky for me, I guess. They also found that openness has a highly positive correlation with creativity and is maybe the best indicator. So what about extroversion versus introversion? There are a lot of misconceptions about introverts, like the idea that they are completely antisocial or standoffish, and while I can be both of those things, introversion is something different. Feist explains in his creativity model that introverts tend to have a lower threshold for arousal, or in other words, they have more going on in their heads at rest when compared to extroverts, so they kind of withdraw and prefer spending more time alone. And according to Feist, introverts are also less influenced by group norms and look inward for motivation. This may be what leads to the common perception that introverts are antisocial, cocky, bumholes, but they may be better described as having a limited social battery. And their intrinsic motivation also allows for more self-confidence and flexibility or openness. So that's sort of the idea behind Feist's model, and how the most creative people are those who often prefer to be away from other people, but who master expressing their ideas in media that others can understand and appreciate. Another researcher, PSYC, expands upon this and theorizes that cortical arousal is the key to creativity. Low arousal means that your attention widens and you're able to have a multitude of ideas, while high arousal gives you a more focused or narrow attention that gives you more control. And PSYC proposes that creative people somehow have both, a contained chaos, if you will. So knowing these connections between personality and creativity may give us some insight on creative people and what their tendencies are, but it's always important to keep in mind that these are just generalizations, and that just because you're an extrovert doesn't mean that you can't be creative, or vice versa. Correlation doesn't imply causation, so don't limit your own creativity, because it's a beautiful thing all of us humans get to experience in one way or another.